All right, welcome back everybody to the legendary, the one and only Gold Rush Weekly Watch List. Each and every week we look for setups and try to find direction in the market. So nothing is different this week, right? We're looking for the only thing that's actually different is that I think that the market is finally ready to pull back, just based on some things that I've been seeing. Some things that I've been seeing on a few of the indices as well as a few of the big boys, right? So just switch over. Good morning, Mrs. Bloomberg. All right, so let's talk. Let's keep the chat inside. Or we could just keep it on trade floor. That's cool. Trade floor is cool. So I'm just gonna get right into it. So let's look at SPY. Then we'll look at QQQ real quick, just for a quick overview. So now what I have for SPY is SPY, and now we have the weekly chart on the left. We have the daily chart on the right. And I'm just gonna get rid of all these. So on the weekly chart, what we had was initially we had this kind of channel that broke a couple of weeks back, and a little bit more like this probably. So we had this channel that kind of broke a couple of weeks back, and now we're facing a potential downtrend resistance that was kind of like a broader downtrend resistance for everyone. SPY and SPX, ES, all that stuff, they all have, good morning, Jennifer. They all have this kind of broadening formation that's really like broadening to the downside, right? So I can, and I drew this on my ES chart. I think it's on my ES chart. Let me just take a look now. Yeah, so if you look at the ES chart on the weekly, which is the one on the left, it's like kind of a broadening down where we're gonna work our way, bounce, maybe, I just say maybe for everything, but bounce off of the top of this trend line and work our way, I think, to test this area here, right? Well, I think first we got to test this box here, this area here where we had that consolidation on the daily chart a little while back in June. Come back and kind of test that area, see if that's going to hold, and if that doesn't hold, then I think that we're going to work our way back down into these levels down here around 39.16. So on the SPY chart, what that looks like is pretty much the same thing, a broadening down, and then I'll set my targets on a daily. I think that we're going to come to test this area over here, which looks like it's 415. It's just above this previous box here. So it's like a little bit of a box here, right above it, and it looks like where the will meet the 20 moving average, right? The 20 simple moving average. So I'm looking for it to kind of come back to this area, and then from there make a decision whether we're going to retest the top here, whether we're going to try to break out, right? Cup and handle breakout, or we're going to fail everything and work our way back down into test some of these levels, right? I think there's a gap, a volume gap on the downside somewhere. Let me see. There's a small gap right here that we can fill, right? And I'm not like, just because there's a gap doesn't mean it needs to fill, right? But that being said, I don't see any reason why SPY wouldn't kind of come back and trade around this level, especially after running for making 2, 3, 4, 5 back-to-back high, a new high of the week. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't pull back for a week or two. So I'm seeing a multi-week pullback into this box here. If we can hold these levels, right? If we can hold this level here, where the previous box is, then we can continue. And if we break through, we'll fall down, right? So keep it very simple. I don't know which way it's gonna go. There's some big earnings this week, such as Nvidia, and I think TWLO reports this week. So I say that to say that maybe they'll catalyze a big move in either direction for SPY or for QQQ. So let's look at QQQ real quick. Pretty much same setup. A little bit. Let's see. No, it's about the same. It's pretty much exactly the same. It was some of these. I think Qs were showing more weakness around this time when it fell down. And right around this time, it was a heavier load and it was falling down harder than SPY was. But they're pretty much in lockstep now. So we're at the top of the trend line. I see that we can possibly fall if we break the trend line, and we're targeting 347 right here, and then above 347, 360, and then above that would be 372-ish. But right now I have a kind of a bearish, I'm leaning bearish on this. All the momentum indicators say we got to go up, but I'm still, I think that we need to pull back a little bit, maybe a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, or maybe even like a 1 week, 4 days or something like that. But I don't know. We don't know, right? Nobody knows. So I'm gonna just put my trend line there. Right now we're currently at that support level that held on this day. We have a small little gap right here to fill potentially. And then underneath that gap, underneath that candle, we got back to the top of this range here, right? So right, this here, if you look at the horizontal line, you follow it across, that brings us back to the top of that range, this range over here. So I just think that it's potential that we can go back to test that area, and and it'll kind of cool the market down a little bit, and it'll be, I think, for the long term, regardless of whatever direction that we go in, we need to pull back a little bit. I think that's the safest, best bet for us to do. So I'll get started with one of the biggest components of both of these, SPY and QQQ, which is Apple. Now I have my daily chart on the right and my weekly chart on the left. I just want to look at the monthly chart real quick because we got a request to look at potential downside leaps for this. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, Huey, before you move on from Apple, I have a question about a contract.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the TA though.
Okay. So on the monthly we have, let's see. I'm just looking at this from a strat lens. So we have a two down, 2 up. So that's a reversal, right? We have up, and then a 3 going down, a 2 down, and then a 2 up to break this downside move. So kind of a upside H on the monthly. And now we have a 2 up, a 3, which was a red 3, but it didn't give us really, it says downside, so we had a little bit of downside. We finally broke down on these couple of months here. New range to the bottom, reversal to the top, back to the top. This has to be a really strong supply zone here, right? I don't know. I have it drawn out on the monthly, on the weekly. Right? So it's like a weekly supply sitting here off this hammer. And look at the last time we had a hammer on the weekly. We fell down a couple of 3 weeks back to back, or 4 weeks back to back, and now we have another hammer here on the weekly, potentially to fall down another couple weeks back to back. So anyway, I'm looking for downside for this. Apple's the only one out of all the techs that have really held up. The rest of them have really, in this entire year, they've all kind of retraced and given back a lot of their gains. Apple, is just a few dollars underneath all-time high. Like it would, there's a big divergence there. So I think that, and again, I say this every week, I love Apple. I think Apple's a great company, and I think that they're going to do great in the long run. Whatever, all my portfolios have Apple in it as a majority company. One of my biggest holdings. It'll always be one of my, one of the best products that I use. And still, I think it needs to pull back hard. Like it needs to come down to. So if we look at it with the same lens as we did the Qs and SPY, then we'll see that it has the same kind of broadening down forming, right? Now I don't want to see it get all the way down here to like the 107. Although if it does, that's where I'm gonna, obviously anything under here is a gift. Anything under this candlestick is a gift. But I do want to see it work this broadening down, and at least work its way into like halfway down. Like right here would be very, very nice. Right where this support is. Right where this support is right here. Right, this level of support. Let me go ahead and draw it on the box. So, and I'm not saying it's gonna do it in 1 week. I'm not saying it's gonna do it at all. But if it does pull back, again, it would be a very healthy pullback. I think that this is the area that we would want to target if it does kind of break down. On the weekly, there's a potential pivot machine gun to the downside. So what that means is we got, and this is gonna be a big one because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 back-to-back weeks of making new highs. So this is a very, very strong trend. Let's see. Just look at volume real quick. There's no volume on the weekly. Let's look at volume on the daily here. And I mean, the biggest volume in the past couple of months has been on this downside move on this doji here, this doji on this day. Where's it at? It's over here. On this day is the biggest, and that's what brought our volume up. And now we're bringing. Now you see volume kind of entering. A lot of volume came in at the top of the trend line on Wednesday, but with all that volume, they couldn't break through the trend line, right? And then Thursday was kind of a rest day. You can see they formed a doji on Thursday. Let me make this a little bit clearer, right? So we got massive volume that came in on Wednesday on a 2-2-2-2 continuation, right? All these are 2 ups, which means they'll break the range of the previous candle to the upside, right? So new high, new high, new high, new high. And on this new high, the final new high, which was at the trend line, a bunch of volume came in, but we couldn't close above the trend line. Next day, we tested it. We stayed within the range of the previous candle, so our highs and lows didn't break out higher or lower than the previous day. And then the final day, we opened up pretty much at the bottom of the range of both of these candles, underneath this candle, went up to test it and see if we can try to get some, make some upside headway, but we had OPEX, like there was, options expiration. There's a bunch of different factors that tell us that we needed to go down. So besides the trend line and all that stuff. So I see more downside. I see this going down to test a bunch of these downside levels. Let me get rid of this one. I want to see it kind of test some of these. Now on the weekly, we have that pivot machine gun. Can I clear this without clearing those? I can't. On the weekly, we have that pivot machine gun. And so if anyone doesn't know what a pivot machine gun, it's basically a sharp change in direction, which takes out all of the previous stops. So no sync. Let me just get rid of these lines so we can see it very clearly on the weekly. So when people are traders, and I say traders, and I mean maybe people who trade shares, right? Not people who trade options, but people who trade shares. They you buy here anytime pretty much here on this candlestick on June 21st that week, and you set your stop at the low of that candlestick, right? That low was 133.32. So that's your stop. And then on the next week, it didn't take your stop out, right? Because it didn't go as low as the previous low. So you just move your stop up. And the next week, it makes moves and you move your stop up. And you continue to move your stop up to the low of the previous. This week my stop is going to be the low of this week. This week my stop is going to be the low of this week. And as the week progresses and you continue the trend, you move your stops up. By the time you get, even if you bought it up here at the very top of this candle, by this week, you're already 100% guaranteed to be profitable. As long as you've been moving your stops up, right? And respecting it. So now you have all these people with stops sitting right at there's some people that maybe never moved them up, right? Or whatever the case is. Maybe there's a bunch of them sitting right here and here, right? In these past couple of weeks. And and for a pivot machine gun, what that is now that we've reached a level, usually it's after 5 back-to-back highs or lows. But we have a bunch. We have 9, right? So we break through the bottom of, if we get to the bottom of this candle, we're going to take out some of these stop losses. It's going to trigger these people to sell. Once you trigger those people to sell, you get some sellers, some selling action, some more selling action that accelerates it down to the bottom of this candlestick, triggering those people to sell. And what happens is with a PMG, a pivot machine gun, what you can get is a potential candle that looks like this on a weekly, right? A weekly candle that looks like, where's my, here it is. That looks like that, right? So, and I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's set up perfectly for it. It can do this, and then the following week, the following week do this, right? And the following week do that. Or it can just do it all in one move. So I'm looking for some kind of downside that'll bring us back into this box, whether it's a pivot machine gun, which is one big ass candle, or just a kind of one of these where it just goes like this and it kind of works its way down, right, into I didn't want to finish that, but into this level here. So anyway, I see more downside. Let me look at the moving averages. So right now we're, the first test is the 20 moving average, which is at 165.31. The 200 is sitting here at 160.50. So those two we can reach very quickly within a couple of days. The one that tech especially usually kind of holds on to is the 50. So, and we're very extended from the 50. The 50 is all over here at 151.21, or sorry, 151.42. So, so I think that we target the 50, which is right at the top of this box. And then from there, we can decide whether we're going to continue to move up or work our way down. Right now, I see downside for Apple. So let's look at what contract do you have in mind, Corp?
I mean, everything that I look at with Apple just seems like it's lining up to retest maybe 157, 155.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, give me a second. I was looking for something in January. I was trying to look at the options chain. There's a lot going on there on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So 150s, 145s.
Yeah, let me see what we have.
140s. I mean,
you said you were looking at January.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and really my questions are is just understanding the delta and the gamma and all that stuff, so I can kind of set, or I can at least calculate, what that stop would be at, at whatever level.
Yeah. So let me just. I don't have a bunch of. I'm gonna I'm gonna add some Greeks to my chains. I don't really use the Greeks much anymore. You understand them a little bit, but you need them. I think for leaps, you need to have a bit better, clearer view. So I'm looking at the 150s. For January, the 150s are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots above where we are on the ladder, right? So what that means for people that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, the 150s are out of the money. So we're looking at puts. The 150 puts are out of the money by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots, and each spot is a $5 move. So that's a $25 move to the downside. And then if you look at the current in the money puts, which are the 175 puts, they're trading at 13, and we're looking at January. The 175 puts are trading at between 1310 and 1380, so let's call it 1350. And the 150s are trading for $5 between oh shit, sorry guys. The 175s are trading at 1360, okay? And then the 150s are currently trading at $5.20. So basically what that means is if we get a big downside move in the next couple of weeks, like 2-3 weeks, 2 weeks, then the premium for the 500 for the 150 is that $520 premium will turn into $1,300 with a $25 downside move. Now, the delta is much less sensitive. Delta is not sensitive at all. Delta changes regardless of the dollar amount. So the faster we get that move, the faster it accelerates, right? Now, the theta is less sensitive, much less sensitive. So theta, real quick for those that don't know, is time decay. And when you have a contract that expires, let's say in a week, the time decay is very fast. If you have contracts that expire on today's date, like today, like a 0 day, like a SPX trade or 0 day Friday trade, the theta is extremely powerful, and then at some point it becomes exponential, right? Towards like 3 o'clock, it really starts to accelerate. And at 3:45, it's infinite, right? So as you get closer to expiration, you want to play contracts that are closer to it being in the money, or even at that point, you can just switch to in the money contracts, right? On Fridays, you could just switch to in the money contracts. And if you don't want as much theta exposure, you can just switch into next week's contract. Now, January theta is very small, typically. Let me just look at the thetas for the 150s. The 150s for January is $33 or 33 cents. Sorry, $3.50. $3.50 is your theta. So what that means is if Apple trades flat, completely flat, like if it just becomes a fucking penny stock and it trades within a range of like 10, 20 cents, 30 cents, and it stays within that range, then every day that it stays in that range, you lose $3.50 off the value of your contract. Now that's not $350. That's $3.50. So if the contract costs you $500, let's say the contract costs you $515. One day it'll be $515. If it trades flat, the next day it's $512. If it trades flat, the next day it's $509. Trades flat, $506, $503, $500. $3 a day is what you're losing. Now, as the weeks progress, so that'll be, let's say for this week, it'll be $15 if it trades flat. You lose $15. So you go from $515 to $500 if it trades flat. Next week, it might be, instead of $3.50, it might be $4 a day. So now instead of losing $15 for the week if it trades flat, you lose $20 for the week if it trades flat, right? And then the following week, it goes from 20 to 25. Following week, it goes from 25 to 30. So as you approach, even though it's so far away, just a flat day or a down day will bring your theta. That's when you start feeling the theta a little bit. So I think that the theta for this contract, the 150, I'm looking at 150, I'm looking at 155s. 150 is $3.50. 155 is $3.70. 160 is $3.80. That's interesting. Let me see. I'm just looking at the opposite side. I'm looking at the call side. And yeah, it's the same thing. Like, so there's no direct relationship between strike price and theta. Because they're all kind of bordering, like the theta is a little bit higher on the call side. I'm looking at $4. I'm looking at $4.50, $4.60, $4, $3.60 once you start getting out of the money. So, I mean, the further out of the money you go, the cheaper the theta is. And then when you're close to the money, when you're like at the money, then theta gets kind of wonky. Sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes it's cheaper, it depends. But I would say generally for something that's so far out, you know, September, October, November, December, January, 5 months out, I would say that theta right now is a non-factor. I think theta would become more of a factor once we start getting into like November-ish, right? Especially with these larger price contracts. In terms of gamma, now the gamma is it's higher for the at the money contracts. Gamma exposure increases. So gamma increases as let me see, is it Vega or yeah? Gamma is basically like the rate of change of your delta. So as your delta increases, how much is it going to increase by? Whatever the gamma is, right? And so your price increases, it brings your delta up, which brings your contract price up, right? So let's say in this case, we're looking at downside play. As the thing goes down, the delta increases. The delta on your put increases. And it increases by the amount of gamma, right? And then as it continues to move down, delta increases by gamma, and then and it's like kind of a self-fulfilling echo chamber of downside profit, right? Let's just call it. And it's kind of hard to explain, and I think that's something maybe we can look at on this week's study hall, so I can get a little bit more in depth with it. But if you stay close to the money, your gamma you're gonna see infinite gains, pretty fast gains on this. Pretty quickly. I would say I wouldn't go further than 150. I think 150 would be the furthest I would go out on this. Although I'm looking at the chart and it looks like we can get 145, but still I would say 150 is probably the furthest. And if you want to do January's, they're about $510, $515 now, and we can get to 150 in just a couple of weeks, right? And that's what we want. We want to be in the money soon, right? We can get to 150, especially with September OPEX coming. And September OPEX is usually the toughest one. It's usually the biggest kind of reset before the end of the year. So September OPEX is tough, and then summertime low volume. So we have low volume that's going to bring us down anyway, and then OPEX is like the final kind of nail in the coffin for us. So I see us getting to 150. I'm like considering selling some shares up here since I've never had the opportunity to sell. You know, I never took the opportunity to sell back here on these peaks. So I might sell some here just to have some cash to rebuy and like not even touch it to trade, just rebuy Apple when it comes down to this area here. I think the 150s are good. I think anything above the 150s are kind of a sure bet. If you buy it starting on, the ideal day would have been obviously on Thursday or Wednesday, but we can easily get a retest of the top here and then work our way back down. Or we can just completely blow through this, right? So where would you place your stop on? And I know, Carp, I know you said you were thinking about placing your stop at all-time high. I would probably reload at all-time high. I would probably like reevaluate my position at all-time high and maybe not stop. Maybe, you know, if you want to buy, say you want to buy 4 contracts, you can buy 1 or 2 now. And then if it does end up getting all the way back here, maybe you can get yourself a better price for it then. The environment for leaps is very difficult right now. It's been difficult since stocks stopped going up, right? I had some SMH leaps that I didn't, you know, we had weeks where we could have sold it and we didn't, and now, you know, they're pretty down pretty bad. So I mean, there's time on them. I think we might have, I gotta look at the account, but like it's just tough. It's just tough to really identify. Like you know, January leaps, you can probably play them for like a 2 or 3 month swing, maybe a 2 month swing or a 1 month swing, something that brings us back to this area. I think that once we get back to this area on Apple, especially like you see where this kind of demand zone is, back into this area, then it's possible that the market's done pulling back and it's going to work our way up. You know, Mrs. Bloomberg is saying Apple's gearing up to unveil the iPhone 14 on September 7th, which is the earliest launch in 6 years. So, you know, maybe we wait for that before we enter the puts. You know, or maybe we buy the puts now and then sell them before the event. Those events typically don't end up giving much. You know, like the company's price doesn't really move. Like I remember when they announced 5G for the first time, we got a nice little move out of Apple for like literally like 5 minutes. It was like a nice 5-minute candle and then it just died, right? So I don't think that you know, I don't think there's gonna be such a massive catalyst, but maybe we can play one, test the water. Like maybe you play the 150, the 155s, test the water into September 14th. Oh, sorry, September 7th when the 14 gets announced, and then so you sell it then, and then if the contract gave you enough profit, if it does make a nice upside move, you can reload the same contract and take it down. So I think the 150s and the 155s are probably best. We'll watch it together, Carp. I think that's a good play. I think it's a great play actually. And then we'll talk more about Greeks on Tuesday or Wednesday this week. I don't know what day I have available, but one of those days we'll do study hall. We'll talk about the Greeks in depth. You know, I'll give you as much as I know, and I'll see if I can get JCat on there because he's pretty knowledgeable. So I hope that I answered your question. I'm sorry if I didn't. I'm just gonna move on to the next few tickers, and then if we have time, depending on how fast I go, we'll go back. We'll talk a little bit more about it. So I like Apple to the downside. I'll give you some targets in the community, but you can really play the lows of these weeks. If you want more safety, play the low of the body, right? The low of each body. And I would think that if it hits the low of the body, it would bounce up and then like give you a bunch of little dead cat bounces, a bunch of little H's, right? So that's what I'm looking for Apple. Next one is Baba. I'm bearish on Baba. I think that it has more downside. Baba had this massive downside move, you know, 1, 2, 3 candles, 3 straight down candles with an inside bar. So it's a good decision, right? This is a good decision candle to break the range of these two. And then we kind of bounced on this previous support and brought the price all the way back up to almost retrace this entire candle, but then sellers came and pushed it all the way down. We tried again, and we formed an inside bar. This bar is inside the range of this bar, right? This week is inside the range of this week. And let's see, and that was an earnings week, looks like. Yeah, so on earnings, I mean, it was like kind of nothing, right? They kind of did nothing on earnings. and now it's back down here. This I was almost gonna say, because I was looking at it on my phone, this is almost an inside bar, a double inside bar, but we broke the range of the previous week, right? The low of this week is 88.56, and the low of this last week that we were in is 88.52. So it did get just a bit lower, just by a few pennies lower. And so what I'm looking for is a repeat of kind of this move where we had this inside bar and we broke hard to the downside. Now we have a double inside, kind of double inside look, where this, this is kind of within the same range of this one, broke down a little bit, came back. This one's definitely in the range of this candle. Now we're gonna try to break down and test. I think we're aiming at 86.73 is the first target, which puts us at kind of the top of this gap here. And then my next target would be the bottom here, which would be 81.58, right at the neckline. So I'm looking at this level here, 86.71, 81.58, at the break of the low of the week. And if we open down here, if we somehow trying to get some bad news or whatever, and we open down here, I would look for a little quick retest, a little gap fill to the upside on like the first 30 minutes, and then failure. This thing it's just been bearish for forever. So we do have this support. I just want to play back into that support. One candlestick or two candlesticks back into this this support here. Right. So that's what I'm looking at for Baba. The next one that I have is, and I'll give you guys levels and all that and full thesis on the in the server. The next one I have is CAT. And I've been using the weekly chart for all of these. CAT is beautiful, 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 beautiful. So what I like about CAT is it has kind of this, on the daily, if you look, you have the cup with the handle, that little pullback, slight pullback, didn't do the full move down. Caught support around the 20. The 20 crossed the 50, right? So the 20 crossed up above the 50, so that's bullish. And now we're kind of consolidating in this box, right? So we have a kind of a cup and handle, and then even just another cup and handle here, right? Within the handle, we have another cup and handle here. So, what I'm looking at, and now if you guys are paying attention, I usually draw my range like this. Bring this up a little bit. Bring that up a little bit. Bring this up a little bit. Change the color so we have no bias. Where is my? Right, so we have this range that we're currently trading in. So I want to see a break above. I'm bullish on this. I want to see a break above. The reason why I'm bullish is because I'm looking at the weekly chart. So the first thing that I see is CAT is inside this broadening formation, right, where the price is discovering new highs and new lows. And it came and tapped the bottom of the broadening, and now it's working its way up. Right now, what I'm seeing here is a big green candle breaking through previous resistance, right? Big green candle breaking through previous resistance, and it broke and it took out the highs of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks back to back. Took out all those highs. And then we came down and people took profit and they sold it off. Maybe there was a catalyst. I think we had earnings that week, it looks like. So it sold off a bit, but we didn't, we remained within the range of this bar. So inside bar, right? 2 weeks ago, we retraced the downside move. So we came back. So we kind of went up, came down, and now we came back up. And we formed a double inside bar. So we have this inside bar and we have this one inside this one. A double inside bar. So range is getting very tight. So, and you can see the highs are getting lower and the lows are getting higher. Now, last week, we broke the range of the previous two bars to the upside, right? We broke both of those weeks' highs, right? And you can see it right here. Starting here, we broke above all these highs. So now we're here back in the previous, now in the mother bar, the week of the mother bar. And so we broke it. We sold off a little bit. We had a red market day, obviously, on Friday, but we didn't sell off crazy. And Cat had to put in a nice doji within the range of this kind of box, right in the middle of the box. And so I'm just looking for it to kind of break above and hold above the previous week, which would be the high of 196.97. Above 196.97, we can get to test this high. and above, and this high is just right, like look at it on the daily chart, it's just right there. It's just at what is it, 199.49. So it's about a $5 move just to get back to this high here. And if we can get back to this high, we can start to break this candle down, this big red candle down on the weekly. So I'm looking at 198.42, 199.49, 200, and then from there we can kind of work our way into this candlestick. So and I'm loving this setup. This is the setup that I look for, something like this, where it kind of goes, pulls back a little bit, and then goes strong. This is what the setup that I look for in my intradays to find momentum movers. So to see it on a weekly is very nice. So that's cat. I'm loving cat for the upside. Let's see. Next one I have is Oxy. Oxy has put in a massive move, as you all know, on Friday. I still don't know what the catalyst is. I might have been just Buffett buying. Although Buffett's been buying Oxy for a while now. Maybe the algos were waiting for it to reach a level, but Oxy went absolutely nuts on Friday. Let me see something. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's getting to the point, it's getting back to like previous volume levels, back when it was like really heavy trading oil. Buffett's allowed to hold 50%, right? So I'm sure he's a majority at this point, but people are bullish on it. If Buffett's allowed to hold 50%, and let's say there's still a couple million outstanding shares, then that means that, and maybe they issue more shares. Who knows? I don't know. But if Buffett buys a bunch, he buys 50%, and then someone else buys and buys and buys and buys. It's probably one of these other funds. I'm not sure who it is. Maybe it's retail. I doubt it's retail because I don't think retail is interested in oil. But if there's an issuance of more shares, and the amount of shares that he holds decreases, which means he can increase his position. So either way, it's very bullish. So let's just watch Oxy for that move. Oxy has been holding this trend line that I drew out a couple of weeks back, and it broke through the previous resistance that I had here on Friday. Broke right through it, and it's targeting, I don't know if this is all-time high or not. Is it? No, it's not. It's not all-time high, but it's targeting the most recent high, which is here. And it can take that out relatively quickly. And let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. We got this pivot, and then we have a bunch of price over here. So Oxy is primed to make a big move, and it's his second largest position. I think the first largest would probably be maybe it's Apple, like me. But it says a lot, right? It says a lot. Old man Buffett, who's been trading for 1,000 years, and he is the best of the best. And this is his second largest position, so that tells you that's like pretty much all the DD you need on this. Let me look at the momentum indicators. Oh, what did I just do?
I was looking at the call flow, Huey.
Yeah.
And they were loading up February, bunch of $80 calls for August, and then February calls as well, lots of them.
Let's see. Let me take a look at the Oxy chains.
Yeah, it looked pretty bullish to me too, like for some continuation.
Yeah. If I look at the 80s for February, yeah, I mean those orders that you saw might have been that was just one person on hitting that one chain. The 80s have the biggest open interest. They have 1,000 open interest for February. I bet January's a little bit more stacked than that. Let me see. And then January, I'm looking at January. All the in the money calls are like crazy, right? And then the 75 has 6,000 and 6,800 in open interest. Yeah, all of these. There's like the 45 calls. Someone's holding 23,000 45 calls for January, so they're caking right now. And they have safety. Let's see what else. Look at December. Yeah, I've just been seeing nothing but bullish buying in that whole sector. So I think Oxy's great. Obviously, it made a nice move. I think that we can find, and then we have our XLE leaps, which are up and down, but they're up right now. I think 30% or something like that. So we got the XLE 90s for December. Oxy's the one. I mean, look at Oxy compared to XLE. Oxy's like already almost at its high, that recent high that it made. XOM is not too far, but it's not set up as nicely as Oxy. Let's look at CVX. not set up as nicely as Oxy. Let's look at I don't like Shell's chart, but I don't even know Shell's chart. Yeah, there it is. I don't even know Shell's chart. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then Shell looks like shit. So I think Oxy is the strongest one, and then I think that we can look for the same bullishness in another ticker in this sector, right? Because Oxy's the obvious play at this point, and that's fine. That's fine. And the bot is showing some January February leaps, and the flow providers are showing some heavy buying. Thinkorswim, you can find the heavy buyers. But what's the less obvious play? The one, like, what's the sleeper in that industry, right? So that's why I like XOM. I like some of these other ones. So, you know, if you want the obvious one, I mean, we can all play Oxy. Let's play Oxy and get some money on it. I think that, especially with Buffett loading his position, it's just very easy to make money on it. And let's look for a sleeper in the meantime. No setup is as clean as this, though. There's not one that's as clean as this, with the trendline bounce and, you know, nice bounce out of the trend line, consolidation, bull flag break, strong breakthrough resistance. Now we're at this previous box. If we can hold this box, and we can easily take out this high here, I see it continuing. I mean, the only thing that's going to stop it is probably the dividend payout, which is in a couple of weeks. But even then, I don't think it'll be that crazy. Let's see. We had a red day. We fell down out of the box on that dividend payout. On this one, we had a green, big green day. So, like, it doesn't fucking matter. Sorry, excuse my language. It doesn't matter. So I think this is the strongest one. Let's look for a laggard that kind of follows it. See if we can find some additional money in the market. So that's Oxy. The chart's good, and then just like Corp said, there's a bunch of call buyers, and then upon investigation, we see there's a bunch of deep in the money call buying, and our bot also called it. So let's see what's next. I like Oxy a lot. Next one is XLU. I was looking at XLU on the weekly, and it's making all new highs. All new highs. It's been trending upward, you know, all year pretty much, for the past couple of years actually. Since January of last year, it's been making higher lows and higher highs. So and it's getting a little bit more volatile now, but it's above all previous highs. XLU is the Spider's Utilities Fund. So let's look at XLU's biggest holdings: Next Era Energy, NEE. Excuse me. Next Era, Dominion. Who else? Looking at names that I'm familiar with that we've traded in the past. Next Era, Dominion. I don't know. I mean, I don't know much of these companies. I think Next Era is probably the one, right? Next Era is probably the one. So we look at XLU, and let's look at NEE symbol. NEE on the weekly. NEE is XLU's biggest holding by 10%. The 10% of XLU's entire fund. And so if XLU continues, it looks like it wants to get 80 pretty quickly here. It'll bring NEE back to this high. The only thing that concerns me with this particular play is that, and maybe we take the, maybe it's the Dominions, maybe it's something else, right? Maybe it's not NEE, but the only thing that concerns me with this is we have this demand zone on a daily, or sorry, the supply zone on a daily, which can bring us back down pretty hard, depending on how many shares are sitting here waiting to be gobbled up, right? So, and it's also a fib level, 1618 fib level from this move here. So I like NEE for XLU. I like NEE for energy, for sympathy with XOM, or excuse me, Oxy, and just that whole sector, right? XLE, all of them are moving. NEE, for whatever reason, is one of the biggest holdings in XLU, which I would think it would be something else. But so the only thing with XLU is that it moves pretty slow. It took 4 weeks to make a $10 move, right? 4 weeks to get from here to here. So if you like it, I would buy a lot of time on it. Maybe at minimum September, right? At very minimum. And let me just look at the chains while I'm here. Let's see. I'm looking on my phone. Still tethered to my phone. All right, so if we look at September 16th, XLU 80 calls they have a really wide spread. So again, it's going to be a patience play. The 80 calls for September are between 35 on the 34 on the bid and 75 on the ask, right? So that means that you want to bid like $50 and just leave it there and just expect to get filled on maybe on a red day or something. Yeah, that's a really wide spread, and that's fine. I mean, it's fine. If we look at XLU weeklies, I bet it's going to be a little bit more of a marketplace. We look at this week, 826, 80 call. Oh, same thing, very widespread, between 3 cents and 24 cents. So with XLU, if you want to play it, just have patience. I would buy time on it personally. I wouldn't go too far out the money. I think 80 is as far out as I would go. I would probably buy September's, or let me look at October real quick. And I think that we're in an environment now with some of these where we can think about swinging for over a week or two. I want to reevaluate that statement at the end of this week, but I think that we are approaching that environment. So the 80 call for October looks a little bit better. It's between $88 on the bid side and $115 on the ask side. So you can bid 95 cents and likely get filled. You can keep the bid nice and low if you want. You can get market if you want. It doesn't matter, whatever your style is. But I think that 80 is attainable, and the more time you have, the more of a move you'll capture, less data exposure, and it'll give this thing enough time to kind of, make it those $5 moves, $10 moves. So that's XLU and NEE, which is the biggest holding of XLU. XLU chart looks better than NEE to me at the moment, but I'm gonna keep this on watch because I want to see it. I want to see what it does with this supply zone here. So I'm just gonna keep it on my watch list. So that's that. I think real quick, let's look at AR. AR is a Corp put me onto AR, and AR is another one that has a really, really nice setup, and they've been hitting AR hard for the past couple of weeks. Let me sync my charts real quick. Okay, so fuck is this? Oh, so yeah, so AR is poised to. I mean, it's kind of been doing the same thing. It held kind of a trend line. I can't really find it. AR it's like really strong, right? So for AR, I see a test of this level, test of there, and then I mean, if we can get some momentum continuation into this right into this level here, into this little gap right here, and then get above this level there. I think that we're positioned well to make a new high on this. Is this an all-time high? No. Okay, good. So yeah, I mean, and then if you look back, let's do it on the weekly. If you look back on the weekly, you have like this kind of cup and handle, right? Massive falling cup, got a handle here, breakout, handle, breakout, falling wedge, breakout. And now we're kind of forming another handle on the larger time frame, right? If you look at the monthly, we have this cup with a handle kind of forming here, and we're looking to break out. And now above some of these levels is when we can really start to make a big nice move. And like I find this ticker amongst just a handful of traders. Excuse me. And it's not like a well-known name to everyone, to the entire market. Like I don't see AR charts ever, and this is probably one of the cleanest charts that I've seen in a while. So so I'll give you some levels on this. AR is a good one. Let me just add it to my list. This is a really nice one, and I just wanted to touch on it. I think this is energy as well, right, Corp?
Yeah, you know what? And we should get Miss Walter on some news too. On the Freeport, that's shut down right now. When it starts back up, the stock it should react with that news and positive. We get those like 6 to 9% moves in a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, just reading about it, all the stuff I've been listening and reading, when this starts back up, natural gas prices go way up.
Yeah. So that's something that I think we should all keep an eye on.
Freeport, Ellen. Yeah.
Yeah, is that FCX? Where are we?
No, just when that.
Oh,
when
Freeport
that,
itself. Got it. Sorry, got it.
Yeah.
When the port itself is back open, then it'll catalyze the price to move up. Got it.
Correct. Yep.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen. I think everyone has their Corp has his eye on energy all the time, especially on this ticker, and I'm constantly watching XLE. And the ones that are showing the most momentum, such as Oxy, just keep them on your watch list. Oxy, we've played a million times in this group, and XOM we've played a million times. So just keep one energy ticker on your watch list. Make sure that it looks very strong, right? Oxy looks very strong. AR looks very strong, right? XLE is quite strong, so you can do XLE if you want a slow mover. XLE, the sector itself looks very strong. And yeah, just keep energy on your watch list now, especially with SPY looking like this, right? SPY's looking like it's at the top of that range. SPY looks like it's at the top of that range now, and it's ready to work its way down to test maybe this 50-day right here. And then you got the Qs, which look exactly the same. And you have Apple, which is the biggest, is really what's holding SPY up, which looks exactly the same, right? So when these things go down, XLE is going to go up, AR is going to go up, XOM is going to go up, right? Oxy is going to go up. Oxy goes up, right? So just keep that in mind. Keep one or two energy tickers on your watch list. It's not all about Apple and Tesla and Microsoft, right? And BA. There's money to be made in all kinds of places, right? So that's Oxy, that's XLU. The next one I have is UPS. I'm gonna blow through the rest of these pretty quickly. UPS, like 10 weeks back to back new highs. Let's see. We had a nice move, small pullback, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back to back new highs after that small pullback. And we're at a level where we're entering a previous box, right? We have this previous zone over here where a bunch of price was. So that's good. It's good to be back, where kind of UPS wanted to be back here. Looking at it on the daily, we have, let me get rid of this volume. Looking at it on the daily, we have a bunch of, just bullish, came down, worked his way back up, came down, made a higher low, worked his way back up, came down, made a higher low, flag, breakout, right? UPS, we're in August. I think people, the southern states, the United States, a lot of people are starting school now. I'm just thinking about I just ordered a bunch of school supplies for my kid on Amazon, and they come in through UPS, right? Things like that. Like these are the kind of catalysts that UPS has. I don't know what seasonality is for. Let me just quickly check. It doesn't. I mean, I was gonna say it doesn't matter. It does matter, but I think that because the chart's so clean, I say it doesn't matter. But if we have seasonality on our side, then it definitely does matter. So August seasonality is average. September kind of goes down a little bit. October goes up. November goes way up. November is the highest, and I bet that's for Christmas, right? So so that's in the robot room. Let me see. Yeah, I mean it's not bad, right? It's not bad, and the chart looks nice. So we kind of gapped up, pulled back a little bit on the daily. Put in a doji. When the rest of the market was put in a big red candle, we put in a doji on UPS. UPS has a trend line that it broke. Right, this is the same high as the rest of the market. And while Apple and Qs and SPY are sitting at the top of this trend line here, UPS is well above it. And I mean, the drop was a little bit harder for UPS than a lot of the other ones, but it looks like all we have to do is kind of work our way into this candle here, right? This one candle, which there might have been a lot of volume in it, but it's just one candle, it's just 1 day worth of price action. So you know, maybe 3 or 4 days of an upside move can bring us up to 215. So I'll be looking at 215s for this week. This week or next week. I think just this week. I see a continuation. I don't see it slowing down. I would have called this an exhaustion candle. Let me look at the volume on it real quick. Yeah, I mean, I would have, and it's like it's making an upside move on not the craziest volume, so that's good, because we're not getting a big candlestick like this, a big volume like this, where that's like every buyer that was in that, you know, all buyers are in and now they're done, right? A lot of buyers stepped in here on this doji, and then it made an upside move from there. So when you see another big, like another candlestick maybe up here with a big volume bar, then that's how you know that maybe this thing is ran out of gas, right? Let's look at Apple real quick. Average volume. Let's look at the volume over here. I just want to see what the volume was on that last day. Yeah, I mean, some volume picked up, a bunch of buyers here, bunch of buyers. Some volume picked up on the downside, nothing really spectacular. So anyway, I like UPS to the upside. I wanted to fill the range of this candle here. And the 50-day just crossed the 100-day to the upside. The 20 is about to cross the 200 in a couple of days. So it looks very bullish. Seasonality is not terrible on it. And I mean, do we really have a catalyst? Not really, but we're done paying dividends and we're done with earnings. So let's look at FedEx real quick. FedEx has a dividend coming out soon, which may or may not affect UPS. And they have earnings coming out in a month, which definitely will affect UPS. So but nothing for the next couple of weeks. You know, September 1st. So this week we have UPS with just price action and just sentiment, no external catalyst, unless they have like some sort of partnerships or something. Looking at Friday, a bunch of volume came in, a bunch of people took profit, but nothing substantial in my opinion, because it's still less than these days and definitely less than all of these days. So I think it was just the effect of OPEX. But UPS, I'll keep it on top watch. UPS is probably one of the better setups for the week. And it's just a momentum play, right? Just a momentum play. Very simple. The next one is Pepsi. Pepsi on the weekly. Back here. Pepsi on the weekly. Just want to zoom out and see where it was in the past. Yeah, it's never been here before. Yeah, Pepsi's at a pure all-time high. Right? Pepsi's at a pure all-time high right now. And so we got the double bottom off of a trend line. Right, double bottom off the trend line. And double top and double bottom one. We broke through, making new highs now. With some good volume. Let's look at the momentum indicators real quick. Get rid of this bar. So we got MACD. MACD is rising, and the lines are relatively low compared to where these lines were up here. So we have some space up top. TTM is firing very clearly to the upside, and as you can see, we have plenty of previous levels where you can see how high it can go. So we have some space up top. Same thing. You know, and then with this, I would probably, in order to determine some levels, I would probably do a trend-based fib. And then I would go from, oh man, this looks like a, there's a bunch going on here. There's a lot going on here, but anyway, above 180.91, which is exactly where we stopped, which is very funny. We have 200 is the next one. Let me see if I can draw another fib level. Fib. It's tough. It's tough because like this is like this is an impulse move pullback with another impulse move pullback with the beginning of a breakout. So I mean, it's kind of hard to draw this. Yeah, just leave it. Let's leave it as is for now. So, and let me hello. I want this to be thinner. Okay. So, and I want it to be actually, okay, cool. So, nice move, double bottom, double top, working as fib levels. Once we break above 180.91 and hold right in this area, now we can kind of work our way up. There's no volume up here whatsoever. There's nothing up here. So it can be a little volatile. It can be a little dangerous to play just because of the fact that there's nothing stopping it. It can really squeeze too if it wanted to, so it can work in our favor if we're playing calls. And I'm just drawing a line in the middle between these two, between 200 and 180, 190, right? So we target 180, 190. Let's see, this looks like an average candle here, and it has a range of from low 163 to high 169, so about $6. So 180 to 186, 186 to 192, 192 to 198, right? $6. I would even put like a, just to make it a little bit more simple, I would probably do this. Put one at like 185, 195. Those are your levels. Very simple. Those are your levels. I do expect this to pull back at some point. I don't know if it's going to do it tomorrow or this week, but I do expect it to pull back. If it breaks above this, it'll pull back into it. If it doesn't break above this, it'll pull back into this previous level. If it breaks above this level, it'll pull back into it, right? That's how these things work. So, and 190, 195, 200, those are psych levels, right? 180, all these levels, 180, 185, 190, 195, 200, all psych levels. Even numbers, right? So I would just watch out for that. But momentum is on our side. This thing is gonna move. Do they have anything coming up? They have the dividend coming up in a couple of weeks. So the last time we had dividend, it put in a red day, but like kind of a nothing day. Before that, we put in another red day. Before that, we put in another red day, but at the bottom of a trend. Before that, we had a green day with a tight range. So dividend doesn't, it's like kind of nothing, right? So let's just see. This looks like, and now looking on the daily, it looks like it wants to pull back. Let's see. TTM is losing bullish strength. MACD is losing bullish strength with the levels, with the numbers, the lines up pretty high. Very high, right? Pretty much every time we get to this level, we pull back. So on the signal and MACD lines, and we didn't get a lot of downswing. Like here, we had some nice downswings. Here we had like some nice downswings. We didn't get much. And I'm also seeing, I'm glad that I did this. I see this, right? I see the MACD. Right, I see the MACD trending downward as price trends upwards. Right, get rid of this. I see the MACD trending downward as price trends upwards. So there's a possibility that with the pullback comes very fast. So maybe we get a pullback, a hard pullback 1, 2, 3 days into this blue line here, this previous resistance here. Maybe we get it into this 20-day moving average or the 50-day moving average, right? So I expect the pullback. If we can hold this low, then the trend is super strong, right? So let's just keep watching it. I like this. I like this for a temporary pullback. Now that I'm looking at it on a daily, I want to see it below the low of day. The weekly looks super bullish, but the daily looks like it needs a little bit of pullback. So I want to see it below low of day. Take out this low at 178.64. Take out this low here at 176.80 and come back to 175. And then from there we can reevaluate. But I think we have a little bit of a pullback in us first, especially with this divergence, this bearish divergence here. Price going up, but MACD says we're supposed to go down, right? So I think we're gonna follow the MACD soon. So yeah, maybe we load some puts, let it pull back, and then from there we can reload some. We can find some calls, 190s or something. So that's Pepsi. And I'll draw the actual levels on the daily. I'll give it to you today before maybe before futures open or something. I don't know, we'll see. All right, BYND, next one. BYND, we discussed it a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago on maybe on Study Hall or maybe on Weekly Watch List. But BYND is forming this broadening down, right? And it had earnings on this week, on this day, and so it fell on earnings, but then a bunch of buyers stepped in and put in a crazy bullish engulfing and took the price way up. And then even on this day, kind of price went way up, and from there it's kind of just failed, right? It's kind of failed. BYND, I feel like they get riddled with bad news all the time. Like I've seen good news come out of BYND and then do nothing, and then I've seen one tiny piece of bad news coming on BYND and it fucking tanks. It's part of my language. So I'm seeing the same thing. I'm just seeing it. I see the broadening. For me, it's very clear. I'm just looking at this broadening down, and it looks like just kind of a weird H pattern where we're gonna break this low and come test this low here, right? So break below the low of this candlestick, which is at 28.88. Come down and test the low of this candlestick, was at 25.16. $3 move, right? So we can just come down and just come back to this area here, 23.78 ish, right? And then from there, here at $25 from there, $23 from there, $22. If we break this $22, this 22.20 or whatever, 22.10, whatever it is, whatever this line is, 22.20, we can easily come down and test this level, right? $2 down, but the real action would be the bottom of this broadening, which will bring us to zero, right? We're not going to zero, but I feel like we can come back to retest at least this level here, maybe this level here at $20.50. I'm targeting 20 on this. From there, we can work our way back to the top of the broadening and see. And I'm interested to see what this is going to look like in a couple of weeks when, if we hold this broadening between this $20 mark and this broadening, like over here, what price is going to look like. And we might get the squeeze there. I'm sure this thing has a nice high short interest. So I'm looking at it for the downside. It's very clear to me. I don't even want to spend more time on it. Next one is Twilio. The reason why I like Twilio is because it is breaking, it fell, trending down, obviously, lower highs and lower lows, right? High, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Sometimes it's very helpful for me to draw these for myself. And so that's what I want to see. I want to see it continue the pattern. It already broke through the low of, and this thing has been tanking. This was $200 a couple months back, and now it's at $76. So I want to see it come down and test this demand at $68, weekly demand over here at $68. And it's below all previous support for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, right? So continue the breakdown. Let's look at the daily real quick. Yeah, continue. I mean, all the moving averages are. This is a AVWAP. All the moving averages are just kind of, they're all kind of converged here and bringing price down. The AVWAP. So and then we have, I mean, the 21's pushing it down and the 50's on top of it. Like that's pretty much all you need to know. Big volume coming on the sell candles, right? Big volume to hold this doji up here. But it was doing nothing. This is just a bunch of sellers parked up right here waiting to sell off. So, and then you can see rising volume on the downside move here. So Twilio is not moving with the Qs or moving with the market because the market looks exactly opposite to this. It just looks very weak. I think it needs to retest that $68 level and kind of reset, right? Get back to this level here. March lows, the March 2020 lows. Wow, that's where we are. So for Twilio. So let me look at PayPal real quick while I'm looking at Twilio. So PayPal made this low here, which was below the March lows, So I'm targeting the same thing with Twilio. I mean, it's the same thing. March low went from there up to to whatever that number is, and it was like a 278% increase in price, right? And then it gave it all the way back, and now PayPal's starting to, it's back at a reasonable valuation. So I think people are starting to buy it up at this point. Funds are starting to buy it. People are not taking their anger of Kathy out on PayPal anymore, or SQ. SQ is probably similar. Yeah, SQ didn't hit the pre-COVID low, but it got pretty close. Twilio is just about ready to tap its pre-COVID low. And it can go lower, right? It can go lower. It's gone lower, and it was lower in the past. It can go lower, just like PayPal went lower. And Twilio is one of the worst performers of the year. So if it holds that title, then I think that it will continue to hold that title for a bit. So I like it to the downside. Twilio spending 1.7 billion in SG&A this year to pick an extra 240 million in gross profit and around 560 million in revenue. The return on investment on cash is 8 years or 12 years if you include R&D of 1 billion. That R&D scales directly to revenue tells me that likely deployment cost is not a profitable business model. Yeah, they're spending money to try to make money potentially in the future. With the current wherever economy is now, and I don't think that Twilio is in the business of they're a service provider for data. I want to say. Let me see. I don't like to.
These price targets for Twilio are still crazy.
Upside price targets?
Yeah, even revised. This is August 20. This is today. I'm reading this article.
What are they targeting?
130, 210. Oppenheimer's 210. Jeffries is 130.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, 130 would be all the way back here.
Yeah, 125. Cohen, downgraded at 150 to 125. The market beat target of 162.50.
Yeah, I mean, listen. One thing I learned about a lot of these institutions is that they'll give you those targets, those upgrades, because they wanna use you as liquidity, right? They did it
with Apple too. Right?
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
day they give it a 220 target,
it topped out.
Yeah,
it topped out. Yeah, so I mean, those are good and they're good catalysts, but I think that those are liquidity traps, and I think that they'll do that to get people to buy so they can just take your money, right? They can get out of their position. Twilio is an American-based company in San Francisco which provides programmable communication tools for making and receiving phone calls, sending and receiving text messages, performing other communication functions. So Twilio sounds like what marketers use, right? Or communications teams use. I don't know. Like I think like the real estate industry still uses like cold calling and stuff like that. A lot of B2B is done with that kind of stuff, but I feel like it's a vanity. It's not like a necessary, if I need to make a phone call, I just pick up my cell phone and use my cell phone, or like people have been using Microsoft Teams intra-organizational, right? Or, there's other ways of marketing that are more effective, I think, than what Twilio has to offer at this time. So I don't see it rising. Like I don't see any reason why any brand new technology, when there's the same space as Zoom, and in the same space as Teams, and in the same space as what's the other one? Google Meet, right? Much bigger companies too. And in the same, and like we're taking this phone call right now on Discord, and I'm sharing my screen. Like this is much more effective than anything that Twilio has to offer, and I don't have to pay for it. So why would I go buy Twilio now? So I think that it's gonna come down. I don't see any upside to it. Let's look at XLC real quick. XLC, okay, so XLC has a similar look. It's a communication services sector, and this is probably one of the worst performers of the year. Just based on how it looks terrible, right? Kind of the same broadening down, but it just looks really bad. It looks like just really, really bad. So yeah, I mean the sector's not doing good either, right? And the sector has kind of a bear flag going on the weekly. Sector's not doing good either. Probably more of a channel. but right, something like that. But so, and I just see Twilio. It's like I bet that Twilio's inside of Twilio XLC. I bet you that it's one of the maybe it's not. Let's see. Who knows? Constituents. Yeah, XLC is mainly tech, and I'm sure they're in here somewhere. Probably not the biggest holdings, but I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's in here somewhere. So anyway, it's nice and weak, right? Nice and weak, and that's what we want. We want weakness. And I'm targeting $68 with this, my first target. So that's that. And these price targets they're out of their fucking mind, these people. So next one, last one. No, I have two more. DOCU. DOCU is forming a bear flag, right? It's forming higher highs, lower highs and lower lows. Right. So we have a low here, a lower high, lower low, lower high. And this might be very fundamental, very, simple for some people, but for others, I find it useful still, so I still draw it. I'm targeting just so I can keep my eye on the ball, right? That way you see like a green day and you're like, oh, no, this is supposed to go down, right? So what the hell is this? I guess this was one of those. Yeah, it's one of those things. All right, so it was a signpost. That's what it was. Yeah. Clearly not happening. All right, so I see a bear flag on the weekly, right? It's kind of a nasty, like a kind of ugly bear flag where it's just kind of worked its way down. Now it's holding support, and it's like also kind of like a triple tap to the downside. This support line has been very strong in the past. We have the 50-day here. Now, DOCU has spent the past couple of weeks above the 50-day. So, where are we gonna? You know what I'm saying? What's gonna happen with the 50-day? Let's see. This 50-day is at. Why is it not showing? My 50-day is. I have to zoom into it. And let's go to the 15-minute. My 50-day. So price is currently above the 50-day. Still, right? It came down. This is my 50-day here. It came down and it tested it at support. Tested it at support, bounced, and now it's still at it. So 65.92 is where I want it to break. Wherever the 50-day is, you want to get the 50-day break. Just do there, right? That's fine. And then 1 day. Yeah. Mrs. Bloomberg says she's gonna start doing some research on Twilio. Now I'm looking at it and it's very bearish. But you're right. If all of these institutional investors are giving these massive price targets, that doesn't mean they're gonna play out in a day or two, right? I don't see the need for the business right now unless there's something that obviously I'm missing that they're aware of. The people who the analysts take meetings with the companies, and based on what they learn on these meetings, basically based on what the person the executive sells them is what they're gonna set their price target at, right? So maybe there's something brewing, like you said. So it's a good place to start. I think that for now we're gonna get downside, and it might touch that. It might touch that what is it, 68, and then from there rocket back to to 90s and to 100. So but good eye and good mind. Products and acquisitions is what I'm thinking. The price target is so high. Yeah, I mean, I got to dig a little bit more into their business. An acquisition for them will be expensive now, but it might end up being a good investment, right? And a lot of their products are very lightweight. Like, obviously you got to develop it by testing, paying people to develop it and then paying people to test it. But they're not like something physical where, unless they're doing hardware. If they're doing hardware, that's a different ball game, because they can go get their hardware from China and make some Twilio phones you know, office phones to compete with Teams maybe, but I don't see them getting into that business. But maybe, who knows? I don't know. I don't know enough about them, about their business. If they stick with software and they're developing software, software is relatively easy to develop compared to hardware because of the scale. You can scale software very, very quickly because all you gotta do is hit copy and paste, right? Once it's developed and tested, you just copy and paste, scale. Hardware is much more difficult, but hardware is still very good because you can get it for cheap and you can price it very, very highly, right? So anyway, I like DOCU to break the 50-day. Underneath the 50-day, I want to target the bottom of this candle, bottom of that candle, bottom of that candle. Those are my 3 targets for DOCU, for the downside. And DocuSign, and you guys, for those that don't know, DocuSign is a digital means to sign contracts and review documents and save documents, right? So I don't think they're going anywhere, but I see just downside, some more downside pain for it. Let's see, and I think I have 1 more or 2 more. TSM has the reason why I like it is because it's touched the top of the broadening formation that was forming on the weekly, right? Price discovering highs, and now it kind of rejected this high here, and it's working its way down. I don't see it going all the way down to the bottom. I do see it kind of going into the middle though, which is like right around here, around 86.15 ish. You know, some of these weekly watch list calls, some of the tickers that we go through take more time to pan out. TSM might take 1 day to pan out. It might just give us the play of the day, right? So it's underneath the 21. It rejected the 100. It looks like it might even want to work its way down to test the 50 one more time for some confidence. So I like TSM to the downside. Very simple broadening formation play. Let's see. We got the bearish cross on the MACD. Right, we got the bearish cross here. First red histogram, and look at how low we can go. Right. So, and I don't want to go this low. We could just go this low. That's fine. 2-3 days of a downside move, fine by me. TTM is losing momentum on the bull side, working its way down to 0. So I see downside. So I'm targeting 86 for that. Nice and simple, nothing crazy. And then I think that there's some chatter in the industry for that sector saying that the demand for chips is slowing. And then obviously is Taiwan, which we have to be on high watch with news for China, right? So China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, and of course the United States, right? They're all entangled. So we got to watch out for the news, see how it affects TSM. Any bad news in Taiwan is going to bring the TSM price down. You know, and the fact that it touched a broadening and it's at the top and now it's going to work its way back to the bottom. Like there's just, to me, there's a lot of confluence that gives it more downside. Personally, I just want to look at Tesla because we always should have our eyes on Tesla. Tesla rejected the 21-day. Sorry, the 20-day. I found support on it. Now the Tesla weekly looks good. I'm gonna see if I can. So we have a 2 up, 2 up, 2 up, 2 down, 2 up, which is what's known as a bullish Randy Jackson. I don't know why. Maybe because that's something that kind of a, you know, you run, you step back, and then you you run again, right? But this is a bullish pattern here apparently, and even though we have a red candle pulling back, it still discovered a new high. Looking at it on the daily, actually looking at it on the larger time frame, pulling back on the daily, you got that cup, and then you got this handle that's kind of just been trading in. Right, you got this, and that's your handle, right? I got a lot of notes on Tesla. So you got your cup, and you got your handle right here. Right now we're holding the 21-day or the 20-day rather. So if we can kind of hold this line at 883.92, and then we can kind of curl, right? Then that'll be a nice spot to kind of trade sideways for a bit or try to break that downtrend line. Right there. And I mean, we had the analysis did exactly what we thought it would do, except it didn't break through. But it's looking good because we have. I'm gonna redo this real quick. And Tesla is a big holding of SPY, but it doesn't act like it. It kind of does its own thing. Sometimes it moves in lockstep with SPY. Most times it doesn't. Let's see. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Do we make a higher high right now, or do we try to hold this low, or do we try to break down below the low, right? Who knows, right? We have a little demand zone right here. Just draw it out. I think I drew these because these were some areas that I was targeting, but they can go. We have a demand zone here. Right there. Demand, right? So if we do kind of fall into, if we channel down into this zone, I can expect some buying pressure here. We have demand, and then we have a little bit of buyers that stepped in. Basing, big move, and then buyer stepped in back at that level. Maybe we come back to that level, but right now the 20 is holding. So if we hold this 20 and we hold this line, then we can work our way back up. We're right above the 200, right at the, is this a 200 day? What is this? No, not that, this. Yeah, that's a 200 day. So right now we're consolidating around the 200 day. We're holding the 21, or the 20 rather. We got to get back above, hold this level, 883.92, and then get back above the 200 day. Come back and retest it, and then from there we kind of work our way back up. But Tesla looks good. Their split is scheduled on the 25th of August. And then Tesla has some news. Let's see. Tesla, full self-driving beta 1069 started rolling out on Tesla owners last night. This is this build is a big step forward. Of course, Elon would call it 1069. 1069.1 probably end the week with a wider release, and then 0.2 in a few weeks should be good enough to provide all full self-driving beta participants. So all the beta testers for full self-driving are going to get a full rollout. Looks like within the next month, right? Maybe after Apple's announcements, Elon will, he'll want the attention back on him, and he'll say, "Hey, full self-driving for everybody, for all beta testers." So that's good. Let's see. And then Tesla full self-driving will be increasing in price to $15,000 starting September 5th. So I think full self-driving was $3K when I first looked at it a while back. Then it went to $5K, then it went to $10K. Now it's gonna go. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Now it's gonna go up to $15K. So some bullish catalyst for Tesla, and then we have the split, which is the final bullish catalyst. A 3-to-1 split, which is gonna bring price down from 875 down to 291. What happens when a stock price is 291? People can buy full shares. People are going to start buying shares, right? Maybe, potentially. It's going to be harder for us to trade, but I'm looking at the last time we split real quick. The last time we split was here. And so we didn't get a big move. We didn't get a big move at the split, but we did. So Tesla loves these little wedge breakouts, right? So we had a wedge breakout into the split, and then we had the split, and then kind of price discovered where it wanted to be, and then from there it kind of went intergalactic, right? We have price here at 437 right before it broke out, and then it kind of did this big move out up to 800, so it almost 880, so it pretty much doubled. Came back down to find a new higher low, and then from there it kind of went parabolic, right? And now we've been kind of holding this channel down. Let's see. I like trading Tesla. Tesla's a fun trade. Right. So that's what we have for Tesla. I see more upside. When you zoom out and you flatten the chart a little bit, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of see where we can go. I see more upside. I see us breaking that weekly resistance. I see us holding the 200 day pretty easily because it's kind of flat right now, and it can easily just curl back up. The 50 is pointing straight up, so that's good, right? So I see more upside. You guys want to look at any of the tickers? I probably have like a good 15 minutes.
Okay, I got you.
What do you want to see? I didn't hear it.
You know, there's a lot. Missed the meme stocks, but it looked like DNAA was catching a lot of. There.
Does that one have an option string?
I don't think so. Let's see. I'll check right now.
No, but I mean,
This is a Chami.
how does this work with price, Huey? If it closed after hours at 42, is that where it's going to open up at in the morning?
Let's see. 30 minute. Okay, this is a 30 minute. So
What's the stock? DNA?
DNAA.
DAA.
Yeah. So this does have options. It does have options. The closest chain is September 16th. And right now, everything is in the money. Yeah, the highest strike was, well, I have 15 on my TOS, Ms. Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Is there volume in those options?
Let's see. The
Seems
open.
like those ones don't have a lot of volume and you get kind of stuck sometimes.
No, there's no volume in it right now. But I will say, I bet open Monday morning you'll see a lot more strikes. So we have September 16th, and then we have September, October, January, right, and then April of 2023, right. So we have four expirations on our chains, and then September the strikes we have 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15. The price is currently right now at $31. 31.
I see 42.
Oh,
I got 42 as well.
oh, okay. Where are you guys?
Extended hours closing.
Yeah.
I probably have it off. Let's see. Session. I got it. Whatever. I don't know. My shit's probably broken. But anyway, okay. So 42. So what that tells us is they're gonna have to. The high strike closed at 140. Got it. They're gonna have to open up some more chains for this. So I don't know if we're gonna get more expirations. We might, depending on how much volume comes in. Which means we might start getting weeklies. Right now, I would probably, and this is just so difficult to look at. I mean, when did this even open? Like, I can't even look at these. Like, what is this?
I think it's an IPO, isn't it?
It exploded after hours, 200% on Friday.
Yeah, this is a SPAC. This is a SPAC, and this is a Chamath SPAC. So, so it's a SPAC. So the price that it kind of hovers is $10. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, let me call you back in about 10 minutes. All right, bye.
Yeah, because SPACs always open at 10, don't they? Like
Yeah.
That's kind of their base.
Yeah, 10 is the floor. So anything at like 10 is, you buy it at 10 and it's pretty safe. Well, I don't know what the rules are now, right? But you buy it at 10, and according to last year, you buy at 10. 10 is pretty safe. Anything under 10 is like a steal because they have to, if there's failure, which means if they have to de-SPAC, then they pay you back at $10.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a good, so the way that I understand it is it's a good way to, it's like a good savings account, right? Because it's like the minimum that it can be is $10. You buy whatever amount at $10, and then from there, you know, but it is obviously very volatile. It went from 10 to 40 in like fucking 1 hour, right? Or 2 hours. How I would play this is I would probably hit 48, open at 9. Okay, so I would probably go as far out as the money as possible on this, which right now is 15. I don't know, they're probably gonna open at like, they're probably gonna give you like 40s and 45s and 50s and 60s during this week, and then at that point, you know what, let me just quickly look at
How much are those options sitting?
So I mean, there right now, I mean, it's just like the $15 call for September 22nd is between $1.25 and $1.30, and this is obviously during market
They're
hours.
Completely different.
Yeah. I mean, those 15 calls are probably gonna open up at like $10 or something.
Okay, hold on. So tomorrow, I think that ticker changes to AKLI.
Got it. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know. I got to read into this, but yeah, it sounds like they're taking that public.
Yeah. So the way that a SPAC works is basically like it's an IPO, but it's done by a public company, so it's not done by banks. So they have a ticker. So what is it? DNAA is the original ticker, and then once it actually gets approved for the SPAC and the Special Acquisition Corporation, and it goes public that way, then it changes ticker name, and then from there it kind of. So IPOF is another one of Chamath's SPACs, and it's bordering at $9.99, like, and it's gotten as low as $9.80, but it's bordering at about $10. So that's another, right? But what I wanted to see was how high this thing went. This thing went as high as $18. So maybe we can expect the same with DNAA, right? Well, DNAA is way above it now, but I really have to dig in and look at what IPOF contracts were trading at, because I remember playing IPOF and IPOE and IPOD, IPOC, all of those, and they get pretty rippy. And what you have to do, the way that I played it last time, was I bought a month out, and I bought like not too far out. So like if this is at 40, that's I don't see it on my chart, but oops, let me see. If this is at 40 after hours, I would probably say like maybe the 50 calls. I think it's definitely going to sell off a little bit before market opens. So now to answer your question, Corp, it's people are buying this. Like I know like Manpreet and Ripster, that whole crew were talking about this on Friday. So they're buying it, and they trade shares, right? A lot of times they trade shares. So what's going to happen is I expect this to either go insanely crazy and open up, and pre-market trading brings it up to like the 60s and 70s, or I see people taking profit and kind of dumping it off, taking like all this profit, because people that bought over here at 12 can sell at 30, and they made a nice profit there. Where's it going to be? It depends on how many people are going to be interested in it. The way that this thing moved in that post market, I think that it's like easily going to make a nice move to the upside. I just want to see BBBY, and we can't really compare it to like BBBY, AMC, any of these, because these are they're different. They're just different. They're like true memes. BBY. Yeah, they're like true memes, right? So you can't really compare it to these. SPACs, when SPACs move, they're like insane. Like people buy them in cash. They buy 1,000 shares, 10,000 shares, whatever the case is, at that $10 mark, and then they sell. Playing options on this is really tough, because you don't know what it's gonna do. You don't know what the true range is. Like, this hasn't really established a true range yet. The previous range was $10 to this candle, $17 candle. Like, that's a $7 range, and now it's way up here at $40, right? I don't know. I really don't know. It just IPO'd. It just got accepted. It's gonna change ticker, so it's gonna probably be this way for quite some time. Actually, let's look at was it Arcade? Who was it?
HKD.
HKD is one. HKD doesn't have options, but they're another one that look at this weekly chart. This is fucking retarded.
Crazy.
It went from opened at $13, and it went as high as $25.55, and now we're back at 181. So this is finding support. This can be another one. This one you just buy shares. I don't think they have options. What was the other SPAC? There's one that Bronson. What's his company? Virgin SPC. This was a SPAC. This was a SPAC that Chamath actually brought public. And this is also kind of a meme stock, right? So it started around that $10 mark. It went up to whatever, $13. It went as low as $7, and then from there is when it kind of started waking up, right? So, and this is around this time is when SPAC started kind of getting activity right around here. I remember like the end of October of 2020 is when we started getting activity in SPACs. This thing hit 64. So we don't know. The point of that is we don't know. We don't know how high or low it can go. Chamath says, I'm proud to share this, that DNAA has successfully completed its deal to bring Akili Labs public. I've invested 100 million, address growing worsening mental health crisis, right? So it's good. Yeah, CLOV was another one. It was, you can tell where it was at NAV over here, right? Around $10. Kind of went up above it. Once they go public, so as it's a SPAC, so as it stays DNAA, it won't fall below $10. Once it combines with a private company to become a public company, right? Once investors say, I'm going to invest and we're going to bring it public, then it doesn't have that $10 regulation anymore, which is why you see a bunch of these are sitting underneath $10. CLOV was a Chamath SPAC. SoFi, another one, right? And so my fear is, you see where they are. This is all the way down at $6, right? CLOV from $29 to $6, right? CLOV went from same thing, $29 ish, $30 to $3, right? IPOF. So IPOF is the SPAC still. IPOF is the SPAC. It hasn't gone public yet. IPOE doesn't exist anymore. IPOC doesn't exist anymore, right? These are ones that I think IPOC is CLOV. So DNAA, the whole point of that is DNAA, the minimum price it'll ever be is $10. Tomorrow the ticker is going to be different, and we just have to watch out for some of these SPACs because they go below NAV, they go down to $6. They make crazy moves and they come down as low as $2, $6, $8. Good companies. I mean, Virgin Galactic, I think is going to be a great company in the long run. I think Clover Health is going to be a great company in the long run. I see them inside of CVS's all the time, right? So, but very dangerous to trade. DNAA, maybe buy whatever. We'll look at what the options are. Yeah, you gotta follow Manpreet. I'm gonna send you his. Yeah, we did kill it. We did kill the SPACs. You gotta follow Manpreet. Let me see if I can find his Twitter real quick. Manpreet will. He's the man when it comes to SPACs. That whole crew. That whole Five Rivers crew. Really, really good. Where we at? Yeah.
I have another stock that I noticed was running after hours on Friday. It's GRFX. And it was a new IPO this week, a Hong Kong IPO. So that other Hong Kong IPO ran really big this week.
GRFS?
GRFX.
X. Okay, GRFX.
So I'm watching it into tomorrow to see what it does.
Yeah.
So that GCT was also a Hong Kong IPO, so everybody is tagging this GRFX because it's similar.
Got it. Okay. This one looks like kind of like a SPAC GCT where it opened around a certain price and it kind of moved up. I mean, this is nice. They probably don't have options because they've been trading for just like a day.
Right.
So if they are going to become optionable, you got to wait like I think 5 days before they become optionable. GRFX. Yeah. I mean, we can buy shares. Listen, this thing is $2. And if this wants to do anything like it did in the past, even from $2 to $4 is like a very, very nice move.
I just bought common shares after hours on Friday. Yeah.
So let us know how it opens pre-market, and then let us know if it's something that we should dump some money.
So like after hours on Friday, it did hit 350 or something.
Yeah.
And now it's down to 293. So
yeah. 353 and now it's down to 293. So I mean, as long as it holds like finds support above any of this level here, I mean this thing, I mean, I don't understand. This is a weekly. I don't understand what
it IPO'd on like Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this must have been a different ticker. symbol in the past, and now this is the actual ticker symbol. Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, this is okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, so it's showing the history of whatever the ticker symbol was before it turned into GRFX here.
Okay.
So all right, cool. So we have the first week, which is this red candle, and it's in an uptrend in that red candle. So let's just continue to watch it. Yeah, I mean, I think this is great. Yeah. So SPACs, it's an interesting play because you can go very far out of the money, and as long as the SPAC has the attention of the people, then those far out of the money calls, even if it's like, let's say a SPAC, this GRFX, for example, is trading at $3. Let's say that the 10 calls for October have a lot of volume. If there's volume in the contract, it doesn't matter where the stock price is. If there's enough volume, you can trade the contract as long as the contract has volume. So, and if these, I mean, obviously applies if they're optionable. So I'll be watching this one. This one might be, depending on where, I don't know. I don't know what it was before. So we'll take a look. I don't think it has any options now.
No, I didn't see any.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is another good one. This is another good one to add to the list. Hold on one second.
And then if you still have time, I wondered if you could look at LABU.
LABU, yeah. This will be the last one because I gotta get ready to bounce out of here. Oh shit. So let's see. LABU is daily SPX biotech bull shares. Okay, great. This is great. So when biotech moves up, which obviously they have like conferences and they have like some of them have catalysts to make these moves. LABU is one of those companies that you can buy shares in or maybe options. Is this optionable?
Yeah, it's got nice option change. Okay.
Let me see. Take a look. So LABU is, so when you see like MRK or a Moderna or what's the other one? Starts with an N, whatever it is. Those big biotech names that start moving, if the whole sector starts to move, then you want to cop. Oh yeah, these are very nice. Wow, look at this.
And actually, I noticed that XLV Healthcare of Spider was the biggest mover this week.
Yeah. XLV has been doing really well, even with even like during the downturn. It's been holding up. I was looking at the weekly a couple weeks back. I think it was like back here, over here somewhere, and it looks like it's doing a broadening, but I like where it's at. I like where it's kind of holding up. It's above the 200. LABU is a good way to play. If you want like ultimate piece, just buy shares, chill, call it a day. Don't think too much about it. But if you find days where you get some movement out of the sector, out of like some of these names, then this looks like a good one. Let me see. I want to see what the range of this is. So there's a $4 day, which is
it moves pretty fast because it's leveraged. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, this is a nice. Some of these days that you can get, like some of these upside, even downside days, are good on this. Now I would only probably play calls. I would never play the put side on this, only because the leverage is designed to be bullish.
Right. There's also a LABD. So on like red days, I play LABD.
Yeah, exactly. So LABD and LABU are opposites.
Right.
Yeah, I mean these look great. Let me see. Let me just see. This one's probably an uptrend. Oh, they're both down. Interesting. Let me switch this to LABU. LABU 1 week. They look exactly the same. That's so interesting. Well, kind of, because they're both in a major downtrend. Actually, hold on. Let me zoom out. So weird. I can't tell.
It's weird.
Yeah, weird. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll start to kind of line up a little bit better. But yeah, these are good. It's gonna get interesting seeing a lot of bear sentiment within 50 days called out. LABU, XBI. Yeah. So XBio, XBI, LABU, LABD, and XLV, all kind of the same vibe. I personally don't like playing biotech. I played Moderna and I played Pfizer during in 2020 during COVID. during like the height of COVID. Because we're still in COVID, but it was like August or something, or July, and I made like 300% on a trade. I swung it, and on Monday it opened at zero. So and that just left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I'm gonna not be the right person to ask for this. Maybe we lean on you to be the person to kind of keep our eyes on this. Because I can do my technicals. I can give you as much technicals as I see, and we can find chains together. But I probably I played MRK the other day, and I was like, I felt very disgusting after I had to take a bath after that. So just that's how I feel about this stuff. But yeah, that's it. I actually gotta head out, guys. Thank you for being part of this. Please, if you have any other requests that you want to look at, go ahead and drop it in the Watchlist channel or in the trade floor. When I come back, I have a meeting now. When I come back from the meeting, I'm probably going to spend some time just charting and writing up, doing my write-up, and then charting some more. So please, guys, you guys are the ones who find the setups. You're the ones who find the setups, right? You guys are always on point with it, which I appreciate, and I love this community. So thank you, guys. Thank you for being part of this call. Thank you for your contributions, and we will see you on the next one. Let me stop the recording now.